Hello and welcome to the Winners Never Quit podcast. Start your week the right way with a laugh and a dose of motivation. Listen to the stories of our guests, learn from their experiences and how they have built a winner's mindset. Hosted by myself, Jack Jarvis. And if you could like, follow or subscribe to the podcast, I would really, really appreciate it. Today I am joined by fellow big-time ultra runner Russ Cook, aka the hardest geezer. Now, Russ is an endurance athlete and YouTuber. He has completed a marathon tow in a car. He ran for 66 days from Istanbul to London, and in 2 weeks, around the 6th of Feb? Around the 6th of Feb, he will attempt to become the first person to run the length of Africa. And Russ joins me now. Russ,
woohoo!
How's it going, mate? You good?
Here, brother. I'm good. How you doing?
Mate, thank you very much for coming on the pod, and thank you much for the pint.
Yeah, mate. Lovely bit of beer burger, right?
Lovely bit of beer burger.
German beer, right? Only good
yes.
Only thing they're good for.
Mate, this is the first podcast I've done over a couple of beers, so let's see how it goes.
Yeah, mate.
Decent. Right, we start every podcast the same way. How do you define winning in your life?
How do I define winning in my life? Do you know what the thing is? You told me you were going to ask me this question, and I still didn't think about it.
Russ, you weren't meant to say that.
How do I define winning in my life? Do you know what? I think if you go big time, big scale with it, you know, my goal in life essentially is to leave the world in a marginally, fractionally better place than when I came into it. So, you know, that is ultimately winning in life. And then I just trying to figure out how to do that is the beautiful part, eh?
Is the beautiful part or the hard part, depending on the way you look at it. No,
yeah.
I like it, mate. Beautiful answer.
And that's the struggle.
Right, Russ, let's roll it all the way back,
Mm-hmm.
okay? Tell me about your childhood and what led you to becoming the hardest geezer.
Cool, mate. I mean, I would say, to be honest with you, mate, I had a fairly standard childhood up until the point I was probably about like sort of 15, 16, 17 is when things started like unravelling for me, really. You know, I was always a sporty kid, so was banging to my footy.
Were you any good?
Mate, I was pretty decent, I think.
I had 2 left hands for feet, mate.
No.
I was awful.
Really?
Yeah, enthusiastic but lacked any technical
mate,
ability.
one of them little work engines, yeah?
Yeah,
Workhorse.
that was me.
Yeah, exactly,
Dirt
mate.
cow,
Useful,
you know. Yeah, like a Jack Russell.
Yeah. Good stuff. Yeah, no. So I played a lot of footy. Did a bit of running when I was younger. Nothing too crazy. And then, yeah, sort of got into my adolescent years, and you know that's where the hard times started hitting, really. So I remember 17. I was still in college, and I wasn't living at home anymore, and I was working 5 part-time jobs whilst full-time at college to try and pay for this flat that I had, and yeah, mate, it was rough times, I won't lie. I remember, so we're sitting in this pub now, there's a Lidl across the road, and I remember queuing up in that Lidl on multiple occasions with, you know, a basket load of food, praying that my card wouldn't get declined because I was just so skint. Yeah, some bleak times there, and it lasted for a while. Turned to too much of the booze. Lots of, you know, I got in a bit of a rut with gambling, and you know, I really looked at my life and thought, where am I going here, Russ? You know, what's the plan, mate? Because this is bleak. And I was honestly extremely, you know, fortunate that I had a mate who reached out to me after I ran home from Brighton after a night out, and then my mate reached out to me and said, like, Russ, you need to get back into the fitness. I'm doing running now. You should like come and do this half marathon with me. And I honestly didn't really want to do it, but I had nothing else going for me.
When was that, Russ?
Maybe, what are we talking, 5-6 years ago. So yeah, but I was moved on a couple years there, so I was like 19, 20 sort of age, and on a whim just said, all right, mate, I'll give it a go. And he came out training with me, and we you know, I was so unfit at the time, but put the work in, and then, you know, did the half marathon. A few weeks later there was a full marathon. Thought, well, let's not bother doing things by halves. So I did the full marathon, and you know, in a matter of weeks I turned my myself into someone that ran a marathon, and I was like, fucking hey, mate, you know, I ran a marathon, that's pretty sick.
What time did you get first one?
First one was 3:42.
Good time,
Not
mate.
bad
Good
either,
time,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
like
yeah.
considering the.
I think that's my first marathon was like 3:45, mate.
Yeah. So
Very respectable.
Yeah, I was, you know, pretty unfit, and then ran a 3:42. Thought, I've half got a nick for this. So you know, for the first time in my life, I was motivated. I had the discipline. I felt, you know, I actually believed in myself. I was like, I can, you know, I ran a marathon. I can do anything. And I just kind of applied that to other areas of my life. Managed to, you know, save up a bit of money for the first time ever, and then I just bounced, mate. I quit all the jobs that I hated doing, and I just got on a plane, one-way ticket, bosh, went travelling around the world.
Where did you go? Where was the first place?
I went. So first place was actually, I went to Italy, right? Because I got a flight there for £8. Yeah.
You really were skin, weren't you?
Yeah, mate. Well, look, when you grow up with these levels of skin, mate, you know how to fucking work a quid or two.
Yeah.
Get stretch the money out of it. So yeah, went Italy, then I went to Africa, went to Kenya, Egypt, and then was in Dubai, went to Asia, and then was in Australia for a while as well. So I got about, and then I met a guy in Kenya. This Italian guy, been cycling around the world on his bike, mate, for 6 years. Just he had his little carry stuff on his bike, had his cup of coffee, his pot of coffee, and that. And I was like, bro, that's some way to live. That this mad dog's just fucking roaming.
Yeah.
6 years out it. I'm like, that's so lit. Mate, I want a piece of that action. And you know, I was banging into my running at this point. I'd been hitting it hard, and did a training camp in Kenya, and I was like, mate, I can do anything. You know, coconuts on the line, I back it. And then I saw this Asia to London run. That was when the scheme came, because I saw no one's done this. It sounds cool. And I thought, yeah, let's give that a go.
Were you doing YouTube while you were travelling? Is that when you started?
No, mate. Mate, I hadn't the whole world of content hadn't even entered my world at this point. You know, like I really didn't think about it too much. I thought pre-run, I thought, it might be nice to like try and, you know, get some videos, you know, some raw videos just made of whatever I was doing, but it didn't quite materialise on the run because, you know, I was running by myself. I couldn't even get a phone battery half the time. To be honest, man, I had more other things going on in my mind, you know. I wasn't thinking about content. Yeah. I was just thinking about, like, let's try not to die today.
Yeah.
So, you know, that was the start of the whole endurance world, really.
That crazy man on a push bike in Kenya. No, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Before we go to the Istanbul to London run, Asia to London, all right, I want to touch, because you put out a thread the other day, and it really sort of, what's the word? Opened my eyes.
Right.
Because I didn't know that about you. Your gambling got pretty bad, didn't it?
Yeah. Mate, do you know what? I never really... I put that thread out, but I never really talked about it to many people at all. I was just so ashamed. And I have been for a long time about it, really. But yeah, I was... When I was younger, I was doing sales, and I was earning all right money, to be fair. But
So how old were you?
Mate, so we'd be talking like 18 to 20, 21, something like that. And, you know, it literally just started off with casual ones on a Saturday, putting accas on with the boys for the footy and that. And, you know, at some point down the line, it quickly just turned to, you know, a Tuesday night up at 2 a.m. before going to work in the morning. I'm just sitting, you know, anyone that's been there will know the feeling when you're literally got cold sweats betting on red or black, or, you know, your lucky numbers. Mine were 13, 19 and 34.
Obviously not that lucky, mate.
Nah, they weren't. They weren't. And, you know, like, you chase your losses and you think, you know, I can't be down this bad. But, yeah, mate, I mean, one night I lost literally everything I had, every bit of cash I had. I was so embarrassed. I was living with my girlfriend at the time, couldn't even tell her. But I said, oh, I need to borrow some money for the rent this week, just, for this month, just, there's just been a few expensive things come out, and just waffled my way through it. But yeah, mate, I mean, it's feels embarrassing, but, I feel like, I put that thread out because I thought it's something that a lot of lads struggle with, really, and, if I can try and, get one person to open their eyes and think this is no good, then it's worth doing, eh?
How much do you reckon you lost in total?
Mate, I mean, the thing is, the numbers probably aren't crazy because I didn't have that much to lose in the first place. But I can tell you I lost everything I had every month, like to gambling, like everything.
What was the catalyst? Was it that one night?
That one night, mate. So that one night I lost thousands. And, and the shame of having to lie to my girlfriend and just the whole embarrassment of the situation just made me really, I finally thought, a lot in my life up until that point, I'd kind of blamed other people for my situation. Like, they did this to me and they, blah, blah, blah. Like, it was all external, and that was just like a protection, so I didn't have to chop down my own ego. But at that point, I kind of realised, like, like, Russ, this is a you problem, mate, and only you can solve this. No one's coming to save you, And that's when I went on every single gambling website I could find, and I banned myself for the maximum length of time they would let me ban myself. So from that point I couldn't even do it anymore. And it's not like it was plain sailing from that point. I still had my crux in other ways, but it's no coincidence to me that a few months after that, my mate's reaching out to me saying you should run half marathon, and I'm going, yeah, all right, I'm taking that chance instead of just blaming everyone else. Yeah.
So to anyone listening to this that might find themselves struggling with addiction, gambling, or something else, what would be your what would be your advice to them? As someone that seems to have dealt with it and come out the other side a better person.
I mean, I think the cold hard truth is not always something that people are going to want to hear, but ultimately the only way out of these situations is maximum responsibility and
taking accountability.
And some people and the trouble is, and I've been there, that you when you're hurting and you're down bad like that, you don't want to blame yourself. You want to blame other people for your situation, but it ain't going to change until you sit there, and say, this is my life. I am captain of this ship, and I'll dictate where it goes. We can't change the cards that we get dealt, but we can choose how we play them. And you can sit there and suffer and go through this gambling addiction or whatever addiction, but if you don't take responsibility, then it will continue eating you up, and ultimately you've got to make a choice at some point. And that's probably the harsher version of me speaking, because I know that there's massive complexities with all of these things, and sometimes a bit of compassion goes a long way. But for me personally, I think sometimes the harsh words direct to the point, make the impact.
You can only speak from your experience, mate, so don't feel like that harsh words. If you felt that's what got you out of that hole, you got to be honest, mate. There's no point sitting here and lying to me, mate.
Well, look, I think the point is that sometimes, people hear the harsh words and it will just make them deflect even more.
Yeah.
And I understand that point. I totally get it, because you're just trying to protect you. You are literally trying to protect yourself. But, ultimately you've got to start chopping down the ugly parts of you. It's not a nice process, mate. Yeah. It's just not.
No, mate. But well done.
Cheers,
out the other side of it.
Yeah,
I'm
mate.
about to run the length of Africa,
mate. Yeah, I do sit there sometimes and think this is mad old game,
mate. We're gonna fucking get to that, mate. Don't worry. So right, talk to me about. So you've come up with this idea, sort of, but you're travelling.
Yeah.
So you come back from travelling.
Yeah.
And you're like, right, I'll get a flight to Istanbul.
Well, mate, I didn't even come back from travelling.
So that's how you came back from travelling?
Yeah.
Nice.
So I haven't been home for ages, and then I was in Australia, and I just, mate, I did a, do you know what, this is actually what funded the entire trip, right? I I don't know if I would recommend this to anyone, but did a medical trial. So basically, it's these things.
Of course you did.
Yeah, if people don't know what I'm talking about, it's basically these things where you go into a laboratory and they give you one of their pre-market drugs, and you just sit tight in hospital while you test this drug for a couple of weeks, and they pay you bags for it, mate.
Yeah. Was this in Australia?
Yeah. So me and my mate went.
Do you know what drug? What was it for?
Mate, didn't even know.
Erectile dysfunction.
Mate, I was, broke boy, didn't care. Looked at the papers, went, whatever. Where's my signature? How much money am I getting paid?
Show me the money.
Sweet as. I think it was about $4,000 or something for 2 weeks, which, mate, it's fucking stuff of dreams, that, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? I was like, yeah, put whatever you want in my body, I don't care.
Yeah.
Came out the other side, no problems at all, and then booked my ticket.
Can I just say the Winners Never Quit podcast does not condone?
No, I don't
medical
condone
trials.
it. I don't condone it either, but I think it is also.
No, Russ, it's about how you frame it, mate. Like you were putting your life on the line so other people could live. Do you know what I mean? You're a hero. Right? You're a hero, mate. You didn't do it for the money. You did it for other people.
I think it's part of the reality that, like, if you're trying to make something, then you like some of the shit I've had to do to get to the point where I'm about to do this project where we've got some more funding for it and stuff. I had to go through the ringer to get here, and medical trial was part of it.
Was one of them, yeah.
I'm not saying it was good, not saying I'd recommend it. I'm just saying that's the truth for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, did that medical trial, got paid up, booked a flight, went to Istanbul. Typed in on Google Maps London, went, sweet boys, I'm off. I'll see you when I see you, and that was that.
Yeah.
Just running marathons every day.
Nice. What was the early stage? Talk us through, like, what's Istanbul like? What was your favourite part of the run?
Mate, so I landed in Istanbul, and at the time I weren't really on social media that much. I had a few mates on Instagram, and I just thought I'd post up some stories just to I'd be like, yes, boys, you never guess what I'm going to run home. And everyone's like, no, he's fucking not. Like, but Istanbul was a loose city, and it was so big. I couldn't believe how big. It took me a whole day. I ran like 45 or something K that day just to get out, and I wasn't even out of the city by the end of it. 66-day journey, went through 11 different countries, and I think, some of my favourite parts were Eastern Europe. I was going around some real, the less travelled roads, let's say, and I just found people to be so welcoming. They couldn't understand a word I was saying. I couldn't understand a word they were saying, but they were just inviting me into their gaff, cooking me dinner, giving me a bed, helping me wherever they could, and it was just such a nice surprise, because everyone's chat pre-run is like, oh, it's going to be dangerous, and what about this and what about that, and the reality is I got on the road and everyone was sweet as a nut, mate. So it was those were the moments that I remember the most, where it's like, mate, I'm pranging out my arse after a 50k in the middle of this Turkish town. It's dark, I'm rolling off going, oh bloody hell, I don't know how this is going to go, and then matey boys just like through body language is basically invite me into his family home, going, here's a shower, here's your dinner, here's your bed, charge your phone here, and I'm just going like, praise the Lord, mate. Like, unbelievable scenes, really, isn't it?
So, when you say you were just going up to, like, were people stopping because, a ginger Englishman, mate, running through, were people pulling over and going, what you doing, or? Mate,
the amount of times I got offered lifts and stuff, and I was like, oh, boys, I'd love to, but I can't. But yeah, no, mate, people were, I think, especially in Eastern Europe, they were just a bit baffled to see me, to be honest. And I think, it's going to be the same again in a lot of parts of Africa as well. But yeah, no, mate, they were just dead helpful. It was lovely, mate. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. What was your if you had to put a favourite country when you were running through Europe?
Mate,
what were the French like,
mind.
Actually?
Huh?
What were the French like?
I weren't in France for too long, but we got a nice little rivalry with the French, didn't we?
Yeah.
And I was in sort of like, I was going through Dunkirk and Calais, and so it's quite like, they know the English pretty well.
Yeah.
But mate, the French were fine. I think the my favourite country, I normally say Bulgaria, because I was in Bulgaria for a while. I was in there for a couple of weeks, quite big. And, I ran through the mountains. I had so many people help me in Bulgaria. I had some really tough days in Bulgaria as well, some like heat waves, 40-degree days, and it was brutal. But, overall, lovely country. I've always looked at, buying a house there, because you can bang up a house in Bulgaria for pennies, mate, like 3, 4, 5 grand for a house to buy one. I'm like, touch there. I actually really enjoyed it there. I
might move there.
Yeah, the thing is,
I can just picture
there.
you, mate, owning a bar in like Sunny Beach.
Yeah,
mate. This old ginger man, mate, with a massive beard.
Yeah,
I love
just
it.
waiting for people to come in and go. Oh, I've got some stories to tell you, boy.
Yeah. Oh, mate, I love when I so me and Russ have sort of known each other for a while now, haven't we? So maybe 6 months. But first time we met tonight, I said, "Oh, you're right, mate." I said, "How would you describe yourself?" He said, "Pedigreed ginger." Straight off the bat, mate. I like that one. I enjoyed that.
See, a lot of people claim to be ginger, but
they're not got a pedigree like you.
They ain't the fluorescent type,
No. So what was that? So you crossed. Where did you cross the channel?
So crossed the channel from Calais to Dover. Got on the ferry, but we put a treadmill on the ferry. No cheating out here.
Really?
No. Yeah. Put a treadmill on the ferry. Made up all the miles on the treadmill. Yeah.
And then what was that feeling like coming back?
Bruv. Oh, mate.
You ran to... Where did you finish?
London.
No, whereabouts? Sorry.
So I went to Trafalgar Square. Then I thought, Worthing's only a couple marathons away. Might as well have a jog down to hometown of Worthing as well.
Yeah, nice.
But yeah, mate, I tell you what, I buzzed off that first meal deal, Missed the meal deals.
Missed the meal deals.
Mate, I think that if there's a couple of things I miss about England when I'm away, it's meal deals. Because I don't know why nowhere else in the world has a meal deal.
Yeah.
Like, why haven't they clocked onto this work of genius?
It really is. It's a shame about the inflation prices,
yeah,
mate. Like Tesco.
Bruv,
Was it your tweet the other day?
Mate, they're
outrageous behaviour.
They've ruined it. Cost of living crisis doing us all dirty out here. But the meal deal, and I love a Greg's as well. And a Mackey's, but you can get them elsewhere. Double cheeseburger.
Mate, when I finished my row, right, so finished the row, I had a burger, chips, 2 milkshakes, Corona, a Coke.
Oh.
It was excellent, mate. Yeah, it's so good, so good.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Then I had chicken wings.
Yeah.
Like a few hours later, everyone's getting pissed, getting merry, and it was such a good day. We were at this like beach bar in West Palm Beach, and then on the way back to the hotel, I was like, should we stop for a Mackey's? I was looking forward to this Mackey's, mate. American McDonald's is awful, mate. No. Yeah, rubbish, mate. Couldn't believe it. The home
That's
McDonald's
so
as well.
disappointing.
Anyway, enough about McDonald's.
Nah,
and
mate,
Mate,
I want to hear. So when you did this, I know you're trying to interview me. I'm
Nah,
going to interview you for a sec. So when this row you did, how long was it?
111 days.
Oh, mate, that's brutal.
Yeah,
111 days. So what did you? So you had to pre-pack all your food beforehand. So were you just eating proper bland shit the whole time?
But
did you have the army packs and that?
No, I had a few army rations. But the army didn't actually give me anything.
Yeah,
I know, mate. Yeah,
that's rough.
It is rough, mate. They didn't pay me or nothing.
God, mate.
Hey, it's just the way it is, unfortunately. I'm not the best sell, I don't think. And also, the army's so scared of risk. They're always like, oh, what if something happens? But I was sort of like, well, I'm going to make it, so you don't need to worry. Yeah, bit like I always say your attitude, mate. Yeah. Very similar. But the freeze-dried rations, so big up Expedition Foods, Fire Pot, Real Terma, Active Eats, they've come on a long way.
Yeah.
So, I was having like chicken, sweet and sour chicken and rice, hot pot, shepherd's pie, pulled pork and rice, like spag bowl, reindeer stew, kebab stew.
So you had a few options.
Yeah, loads of options, mate. Fish and mashed potato, which is a really good one. So it wasn't too bad, and I took a lot of sauces as well. But it was funny. I've got in my diary somewhere. I have to look it up. I took a stock check of what sauces. I took a kilo because you do have a lot of curries as well, like korma and get the calories in. I took a kilo from Booker's, mate, of mango chutney.
Oh,
so good. Not one bit of advice for you, mate, as well at the start. No, it's a little bit different for you because you're supported, so you can resupply.
Yeah.
But I threw a pack of biscuits away.
Nah.
Like biscuit browns, so like crackers.
Right.
I was like, ugh, on like day 2.
Yeah.
Obviously didn't throw the wrapper away, guys. All right. Yeah. I love the environment. And mate, I thought about that fucking pack of biscuits.
Really? Oh, mate.
For 109 days, mate. It was a joke, mate. It was an absolute joke.
Mate, I get that feeling because when I was buried alive, I didn't eat for a whole week.
Yeah.
So like, and I'm only down there with my thoughts, so
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, you know, that mate, what I was thinking about was the cheesy Dominoes, mate.
Oh, stop it with the stuffed
yeah.
crust.
Oh yeah, and the garlic and
Oh, and the
dip.
garlic, yeah, mate. Like that little soup bowl you get,
Yeah.
mate. That large one. I could drink that.
Filth, mate.
Mate,
It's
Russ, so
absolute filth.
one final thing about the rum. So you,
Yeah,
you
go on.
finish in Worthing, mate. And what I found mad when we spoke is how much it cost you. Because you were literally
Yeah.
a man, a backpack, and a hammock, weren't you?
Yeah. Yeah, mate, I mean, I don't actually know exact figures on how much it cost me. I went out there, I had that money from the medical trial and I had a credit card. And I just kind of I was eating so much food that I ended up spending maybe like, I can't remember. Maybe I must have been 3 or 4 grand.
Mate, but
maybe a bit more.
just to put that into perspective, my row, before I could raise any money for charity, cost me 85 grand that I had to
Yeah.
raise for like corporate sponsorship. And shout out to my sponsors. Like, you always got to big them up, mate. Because
Yeah.
without that, like,
Oh, mate, yeah.
I wouldn't have the facility. I wouldn't have had the facilities for that fam
Yeah.
to raise 70 grand for charity.
Yeah.
So I really do owe them. Talk about the Africa run.
70 grand for charity is a fucking lot of money to
So
raise
much
as well,
money, mate.
man.
Like,
You
big
did-
up
you
to
smashed
everyone who
it there,
donated,
yeah.
mate. No, but I just found I went to work every day, Russ.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, honestly, like Taff, who's just texted me, one of my dad's mates. He raised me loads of dough. My mum and dad, they donated.
Yeah.
So many members of a 250 club. Gosh, Sarah was running events. Like,
Yeah.
everyone just got behind me, mate. And like, so they're the real heroes, mate.
Yeah,
Honestly, I
yeah.
just see it as I went to work, mate.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and that, I mean, people say, "Oh, you're being modest," but when I was out there, it was like, keep rowing or die, mate.
Yeah.
So it's
Well, I
an
mean,
easy.
essentially that is it,
Yeah,
though,
yeah,
really,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
You
That's
know.
it. It is all it is. But anyway, enough about me because I'm interviewing you. By the way, I like it. I'll never get asked questions. Cheers, bro.
All good, mate.
Buried Alive. Talk to me because I was
Yeah.
thinking about this on a car. How? Because you filmed it.
Live
so
stream,
explain
live
it.
thing, yeah, mate. Yeah, the Buried Alive.
Were you in a
I was in a coffin,
Yeah.
which was inside of a box, and then buried under a load of mud.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is literally what it says on the tin. I
Yeah.
was buried
How
alive for a week with nothing but water and live stream.
How did they make sure there was enough air in there?
We had air tubes coming up.
Okay.
But mate, I had a fan down there and then air tubes coming up, but it got really hot in there.
Yeah.
And it smelt terrible as well.
Yeah. But you must have come used to the smell, surely.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Your nose only senses changes in smell.
Yeah.
So I was alright. It's only when I got out that I realised,
Yeah.
fuck,
Oh, I stink.
this is what fresh air smells like.
Because that's the same. Like, my auntie did my washing when I finished a row.
Oh God,
like,
mate.
and I only had 3 sets of undercrackers.
Yeah, yeah.
I think I had
How
2.
was you washing gear then, or what? How was you doing
So
that?
you'd stay in the same set of clothes for a week. Then you'd change and you'd do
A week?
A week, yeah.
Gee.
So you'd have one t-shirt, pair of Nicks, socks.
Nah.
But I'd mix up. Sometimes I wouldn't wear socks. Sometimes I would wear socks.
Yeah.
And then once you got to the end of 3 weeks, you'd wash it all in a seawater. You had like detergent sheets, and then you'd rinse it.
Salty,
with
don't I?
No, because you'd rinse it with fresh water afterwards to get all the salt off it.
Yeah.
And that was nice, mate. That was a nice treat putting on that. Like,
New fresh
new
gear.
fit, yeah, but
I just don't know. Like,
my auntie Adele said she had to wash
Oh,
our stuff like 3 times.
yeah,
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
right. Did you jump? I know I'm asking more questions.
Yeah, that's right.
Did you jump in the sea to wash yourself?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then to clean the bottom of the boat, so you have to get all the barnacles and shit off. Yeah, mate, it was pretty
And
nuts.
you said you're not even a good swimmer.
No, I can
you
swim,
can
yeah,
swim,
but
yeah.
you're always attached to the boat, Russ.
Right.
You know, you don't just jump in willy-nilly.
Yeah.
But mate,
yeah.
I'm looking for someone to row the Indian Ocean, mate. If you're up for it,
Mate,
never been done before.
that's a big ocean.
It's big, yeah. It's the same distance as what I did on my own,
Do you know how much experience I got in rowing as well?
mate. I had
Niche.
I had none. Mate. Mate, I was a good indoor rower.
Yeah.
Because I was an erg monkey, could just
Yeah.
pull hard.
Yeah.
But I've never rowed on a river before.
Really.
Yeah, mate, you just do it, don't you?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Just crack on.
Mate, that's carnage. Because you know what? Like when I did the Asia run, right?
Yeah,
The one thing that I had to I couldn't not do it every day was wash.
yeah.
So I'd find a river, I'd find a
mate,
lake, I'd find
No,
anything.
you have 5 wet wipes a day,
Yeah.
and then
When I go to sleep, yeah, and if I'm all smegged up,
smacked up.
I just can't.
Yeah,
Like,
but you what? That's when you wet wipe.
yeah,
wash.
yeah, I guess so. Mate. I mean, I can't believe the hot. That's mate. It's honestly shocked me that you
Yeah.
wore the same gear for a week in a row.
Yeah.
But, I mean, fuck it. I
You
guess
don't
so,
have, mate. You don't have enough room really to take. What, you're going to take 111 pairs of nicks, mate? Obviously it's not viable, mate.
So do you sleep in a sleeping bag then, or what? Had a bed?
Yeah, you have a little bed in the cabin and that. It wasn't too bad. Sleeping bag was all right. Like sometimes you wouldn't even put it on. Like it was quite hot.
Really?
At the start, it was a little bit cold. Yeah. But once you get out into the Atlantic, mate, it's boiling, mate. Like people always ask.
Really? I thought it'd be freezing.
Nah, mate. Nah. Like people always ask, were you scared about rowing at night? And I was like, no, mate, because it's like nice and cool.
Yeah.
Like it's boiling. It feels like you're melting, mate. It's disgusting. But you're going to experience this. So right, the Africa rum.
Yes.
Where did the idea come from?
Mate, I've had the idea for ages. As soon as I finished Asia's London, I was staring at a map for about 2 weeks straight, thinking, where am I going to tear it up next then? And Africa, mate, beautiful continent. I thought that looks lively. I want to I want a piece of that.
So you're going for the most northerly tip, which is in
Tunisia. Yeah.
And obviously, because of the Sahara Desert, you can't go straight down.
Well, mate, I mean, we're going through the Sahara Desert. The reason I can't go straight down is because of closed borders and like rebel groups and terrorist groups and all these things. So yeah, but we literally can't. You can't. The border from Algeria is closed to Niger, so can't actually go through there. Forced west, so we're going through the most western point of Africa as well, which is near Dakar. And then round the west coast, and then down after that.
Do you know one of the most amazing things that I didn't know? Yeah, there's a ferry that goes from Italy to Morocco, isn't there?
Italy to Tunisia. Yeah. I think they're probably Italy to Morocco.
Italy to
That's the ferry we're getting, mate.
Yeah, I know.
Italy to Tunisia.
Yeah. How long's that ferry?
It's like a 17, 18-hour ferry or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Mental, mate. Yeah.
Mate, it's quite cheap as well, too.
How much?
It's like, I think... honestly, if I remember this correctly, I might be chatting waffle, but I think it was like 250 quid for all of us, four of us, and a big bus.
Yeah, that's all right. So
19-hour ferry.
So you've come up with the idea. Now talk about the funding for this.
Cool. So, mate, do you know what? Like anyone, and you'll vouch for this as well.
Yeah.
Anyone planning these kind of things,
the hardest part
is getting to the start line. I've been dreaming of the start line. I'm just thinking, mate, just let me have a little roll around in the Sahara Desert and I'll be cushy. But all this, trying to formalise everything into something that appeals to sponsors and, working with all these different people to try and get money, try and get support for the mission is just, it's not my remit, mate, and it's probably not your remit either. Like, we are... I'm the wild man.
Mate.
I'm the loose geezer.
Yeah, you are. You're not the hardest geezer. You're the loosest geezer.
I'm not the guy that's. I'm not necessarily the. I've got a bit better in the last year because I've had to, but I'm not necessarily the businessman. I'm not the.
No, I wasn't. Mate. I was just literally going in blind to meetings. Like cuffing my way through.
Yeah, my chat is just like, look, boys, I got a mad one.
Yeah.
No one's ever done it before.
I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, I'm 100% nailed gonna do it. This is what I did before. Any chance you want to support with this kind of thing, and so the initial investment I got was from a mate of a mate who he made some money in crypto, and then we sort of got put in touch by our mutual friend, and I said to him like, mate, look, no pressure or anything, but I'm trying to do this thing. If you want to invest, these are the terms we can work with, and he was like, mate, he's a great guy, to be fair. He was just like, mate, I want to see it happen. Like, let's do it. And it was that backing that's basically been able to make this happen.
Yeah.
Because without that, then we wouldn't be anywhere. So he, talking cold hard numbers, he chucked me 50 grand for an investment.
Do you want to give him a shout out, do you? Or does he want to
stay
silent?
He wants to remain anonymous, yeah.
He made his money in crypto, you say? Yeah, sure.
But he's a great guy now.
Pay your tax.
Yeah. And then, from that, I've gone and kind of like recruited a team of like different people to help with this project. So for a lot of the thing these days is, you need to be making content out of what you're doing, because, the only way anyone's going to sponsor you commercial
eyes,
sponsors is
eyes on it.
if they get eyes on their product.
Yeah.
So you are basically the vehicle for those eyes, because you're doing something that's interesting to people, right?
Yeah.
So I can't edit videos, so I was like, right, let's get some people that can edit videos and make this whole operation slick.
Yeah.
So I recruited 3 videographers to come with me.
So is that how many people are going to be in the van? 4.
So that's 4 of us.
4 of
so
us.
3 of them are videographers. So I've literally just doubled down on we need to make content to make this happen.
Yeah.
So we're running a YouTube series. We're doing our own podcast. And then Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all these things we're going to be firing on all cylinders, and then making a documentary at the end. Do you know what? I'm excited because I know how good the content's going to be. Just because it's carnage, mate. We're running through Africa, and the Asia to London one, I wish I filmed more of it because there was magic happening all the time. You know how on these kind of things, you're just bumping into people every day. You can't even predict what's happening. So I think I'm really excited for the guys to put the content together, and that's kind of how we're funding it essentially.
When you said you were winging it, mate.
Yeah. Oh, mate. I mean,
I love it.
The thing is, you just gotta back it at some point.
Mate, you got to back yourself. You got to back yourself.
Yeah, that's
but
it.
Tell us about the team, mate.
Yeah.
That you've put together,
mate.
Because I feel they deserve a shout out.
Yeah, mate. So we got Stan, Olivia, and Harry. And mate, I'm very much a vibes guy. Like I don't really, I don't need to see CVs. Yeah, I was just chatting to him. So, I got.
Because you put the tweet out, didn't you? How many people applied?
Mate, over 100. Yeah, over 100 were up for it. Mate, some of the applications were just jokes. To be fair, people just sending.
Don't name names.
No, I won't. But sending emails just saying like, "Oh, Russ, mate, I've got none of the. I can't film nothing. I don't know how to hold a camera, but I'm well keen to come." And I'm like, "Oh, geez, I'd love to have every man and his dog coming. Do you know what I mean? I'd love to have the cash
American
money.
School bus.
Yeah, I'd love to have the cash money to just go, boys, let's all float for Africa together and just have a
Well, I'll tell you what, you don't even need to pay me. I just want to come and roll, mate.
Yeah. But
mate, you're laughing, but I'm being deadly serious.
Mate, you've got to come out for a little stretch.
Yeah, we could do one country together, couldn't we?
Yeah, exactly, mate. You got to come do some bits with me. But yeah, mate, we had these 3 people were just. I just knew it. They're just from the vibes. So Stan, the first guy in, he's edited loads of big YouTubers videos. So I don't know if anyone's into YouTube, they might know like Zach Alsop, who I've done a few bits with before. Max Fosh, Beta Squad. He's worked with these guys editing videos. So I've got him in because he just knows the game so well. You know. He's also the first time I met him. We was filming a video with a guy called Geo Wizard, and he was dribbling a football across the entire length of, the entire width of Great Britain, and Stan was filming it, and I was pacing Tom, and Stan off the bat, right, first time I met the geezer, the furthest he'd ran before was 10k, he did 100k with us, holding a camera with a gimbal and everything. I was like, this geezer's hardcore.
Yeah.
So then I was like, recruited him in.
Hang on, right?
Yeah.
100k.
Yeah. Literally, mate. I was like, that's, mate. That ain't normal.
That's punchy,
yeah,
mate.
that's not normal.
I've run that ultra marathon in the Atacama Desert, mate.
Yeah.
250k.
Yeah.
But not. It was like a marathon a day,
Staged,
a double marathon.
yeah.
So you do like 80k one day, mate.
Yeah.
And that was hard, mate.
Yeah.
But I trained hard for that,
Yeah,
mate.
yeah. Exactly. So I was
no doubt he was in like a pair of Converse All Stars or something. A set of Vans.
Literally. So yeah, that caught my attention. I was like, I need to get him involved. So he came on board. Then Harry, he's done loads of videography. He's been doing it for donkeys, and really good stuff. He was living in Mexico, but he travelled around the whole world, right? And he also spoke English and Spanish fluently, but crucially, when I spoke to him, he said, mate, you give me like 3 months, I'll be fluent in French. And I went,
Fuck off.
I love the confidence, yeah. And I was like,
Chateauneuf de Pape.
Yeah, I was like, this guy's
Je suis
like,
croissant.
You know when someone's just got the sauce a bit, and I was like, mate, he's just got a bit of sauce, and like, I'll just back him.
Yeah.
So, mate, lo and behold, he's fluent in French these days.
Mate, that is mad.
Good
That's
going,
a mad
mate.
skill,
Isn't it? Good going.
That's going to be handy as well,
yeah,
mate.
We're
Like
going
what,
for
Senegal,
all the West Africa.
Yeah. What,
all
Algeria.
Yeah, Tunisia.
Cameroon, yeah, mate.
Exactly. So he smashed it, and then last one was Olivia, and you know, only downside to Olivia is she is a Yank, but you know,
hey,
these things happen.
Someone's got to be. Funny because my cousin, but both my cousins are American, mate.
Really, yeah.
Sophie Will, sorry about that
one. But yeah, Olivia has been doing videography for about 10 years and photography and stuff, and she'd actually lived in Ghana for a year.
Oh,
and
mustard.
Yeah, and she's just nails, mate. She's probably the hardest one of the lot. You know, I wouldn't want to fight her, that's for sure.
Oh, mate, I feel that.
So I was like, she's in and all, and then. You know, we.
Who's driving the bus?
Oh, mate, they'll all have a go, won't they? Yeah.
I can't imagine Africa's that bothered about driving licenses.
Okay. So yeah, we all met for the first time in Gran Canaria a couple of weeks ago, and it was so funny. I was looking around at everyone. I was going, "We are the most ragtag team possible."
Motley crew.
Yeah, like proper motley crew. But. It works. It just works. You know, some things in this life are just untangible. You know.
Yeah. No, mate.
Just, you know, a bunch of misfitted pieces coming together, and we're going to do a madness. So I'm buzzing about that.
Mate, no, I'm excited for you. So, what is one thing that maybe I know nothing concerns you, Russ.
Yeah.
But what maybe doesn't excite you more than the other stuff?
I mean, I've been asked what you're worried about a lot, and the truthful answer is I'm really just not worried about anything.
I knew you'd fucking say that, you twat. Okay.
I'd love to give you a better answer.
Okay.
I think.
Give me some. Okay, instead of maybe some ambiguous questions, give me some factual questions. Tell us about the scale of this challenge.
So yeah, I mean, there's no doubting there's a few pinch points in there. So obviously it's 15,000 kilometres of running.
Yeah.
I've got to run 360 marathons in 240 days, which is, mate, it's going to be brutal. I can't lie. You know, that's really testing my limits there. 16 different countries. We've got some of the most dangerous borders in the world, some of the most challenging borders in the world.
What are those dangerous borders?
So, Algeria, Mauritania, from what we've looked up online, and you know, we might get there and it'll be fine. I'm sure it will, which is what I keep saying to everyone. But supposedly, you know, that's a bit of a problematic one. I think it's going to be all right though. You know, and then you know, there's the Congo countries, which is supposedly a bit of a potential pain point there. Yeah, and that's not even mentioning the terrain. You know, we've got to cross the entire Sahara Desert. I'm going to be 3 months in the Sahara Desert.
Yeah,
the entire Congo rainforest, second biggest rainforest in the world, biggest hot desert.
Where are you
going to
resupply in the Sahara Desert?
First resupply.
So how are you going to have the fuel to cross it?
Well, there's little towns throughout.
Right, got you.
So you make it to these little towns in the middle of the Sahara Desert. You get a bit of fuel on, get a bit of food
water.
on. Yeah, that's the thing. And so, but first logistics resupply won't be till we hit Dakar.
Yeah.
Dakar, Senegal,
Yeah,
Dakar.
yeah.
So that's the first, you know, actual point of end of Sahara there really, and the team will get some of the logistics flying out and meeting us with some good stuff.
Good stuff, no, some home treats.
Yeah, maybe a little Cadbury's caramel or something.
So what food-wise, what is the plan? Because like you said with me it's freeze-dried rations. So those things, fill the boat, 1,000 calories in a packet.
Yeah.
You know, you're good to go for. You know, you're good to go.
Yeah.
Like they last for 5 years.
Yeah.
What's your plan?
Don't really have one, mate.
Brilliant.
Well, the thing is, I kind of just want to just try all the food that we get.
Yeah, no,
you know,
I'm game. No, and Russ, I'm all down for trying the local cuisine, mate.
Yeah.
I will. Don't eat any bats though, for fuck's sake. Look what happened last time. Someone did that. But you know, all the bushmeat, and I'm game for that. But I'm also game for living through the Sahara, not famed for its food producing.
Yeah. I mean,
properties.
I think I'll chuck some protein powder in the van and
Oh yeah, you'll be sweet, mate.
and some we'll
And a
have
can
a
of
big
Coke.
load up on some peanuts. They're dense in calories, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
And they've served me well before. I just think we'll find some food. We'll
Yeah.
roll up into a village. I'll go, look, boys, what you got for me? And I just think that's part of the gig. Like might have a few runny poos every now and again, but. That's what I came for. I didn't run through Africa
to set 5-star accommodation every night.
And I didn't run through Africa to get my my food that I've packed in the van from England. I ran through there so that I can roll into a village and say, give me your 4-day-old goat and a bit of celery or whatever you've got, and I'm scranning that, lad.
Nice, I like it. So, okay, we've talked about maybe things you're not excited about, but what are you excited about? Are there any places you're really looking forward to? What you're looking to hit?
Mate, I've heard a lot of great things about a lot of these places. Guinea seems particularly exciting to me. Apparently, it's beautiful, so I'm excited about going there. The Congo as well. I think the Congo is probably going to, there's been a lot of talk about Sahara Desert being, fuck me, Sahara Desert. Everyone knows that's hardcore, but I think the Congo rainforest is potentially going to be even worse. We're going through it in rainy season, and the best part about that is that after.
I hope the van's got off-road tyres.
Well, mate, it don't, to be honest with you, but I'd back it anyway.
Maybe you should think about that.
That sounds like a future problem.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
I'll cross that bridge.
Why don't we deal with that problem now? It's probably going to be a lot easier to solve in the UK. Just nip to quick fit, mate.
I just think, let's let that story play out, Let's let that one...
Look, okay, if any quick fit is listening to this, hopefully it goes out before he leaves, but let's just lash him up with 4 off-road tyres. Maybe I'll sponsor you that.
If we got to push the van for a bit of mud every now and again, then good content, eh? Yeah. So yeah, I think after finishing the Congo will be great, because that means that the countries left after that are Angola, Namibia, and South Africa. And there's only like one little desert called the Namib and a few lines to get through, which will just be like, oh sweet, home stretch. So. I'm looking. I think that'll be a big landmark to get through. But overall, I just want to try and enjoy the process. You know, I think what I'm most excited for is just meeting. Man, I'm just going to meet so many people.
You are,
just thousands.
It's going to be amazing, man.
Yeah. So I think that's probably what I'm most excited about, is just hearing the stories of these people. Getting that perspective. And just learning about the different cultures. That going to be so many different cultures. It's going to be so interesting. So yeah.
So how many countries are you actually going through?
16.
16. And what is the mileage?
So it's 15,000 kilometres.
15,000 kilometres.
Yeah.
When I said try and give people a scale, what was that tweet you put out in all the countries that can fit into Africa?
Yeah, mate. Because what happens, right, is on most traditional maps is they underrepresent how big Africa is. So in our heads, we don't really realise the actual scale of Africa. But you can, inside Africa, you can fit like the USA, China, all of Europe, like everything, man, India, like a lot. Africa is absolutely massive, and people just haven't, warped perceptions about that.
Yeah. So,
yeah, mate. I'll learn it firsthand how big that place is.
Oh no, you will.
Yeah.
First foot, mate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, literally.
No, mate, Russ, I've really enjoyed speaking with you, buddy, mate. I've been looking forward to this episode for a while. You're a hard man to tie down, but you're busy.
Mate, I am a loose.
So I'll let you off.
I'm a flaky. I can't lie, mate. I see that phone and I think, get away.
Jack's phoning me again. Quick, chuck it in the lake. Russ, one final question, mate. If you could give one bit of advice to a young hardest geezer, to a young Russ Cook, to a young pedigree ginger.
Yeah.
Okay, what would it be?
My advice, I think, I'd probably echo the words of earlier, and just, maximum responsibility. No one is coming to save you. You've got to make the most out of your life, because you only get one go, boys and girls. So do whatever it is that your heart's longing for, and don't do it by halves. Go hard.
Nice. Take accountability. Go hard. don't do it by halves, mate.
Yeah.
That
Nice
is
one, brother.
cracking note to finish the podcast, guys. And like I said, that is the end of today's episode. If you enjoyed it, please could you follow, like, subscribe? Really appreciate it. Thanks for listening. Russ, did you enjoy that, mate?
Nice one, brother.
Mate, it
yeah,
was wicked,
sweet,
wasn't it?
mate. Great
Mate,
podcast.
thank you for sharing, mate. It was
No worries.
awesome.